Hello everyone and welcome back to another Team Lotus Box video. My name is Mullen and today I'm going to be talking about kind of the latest craze in Modern. So a little backstory about this deck. Pascal Maynard tweeted out this deck list and he essentially said that this is one of the best Modern decks he'd ever played. It's very powerful. You can play a long game and you can kill them on turn 3. And, these are all things that Modern players are very excited to hear. We've all kind of known for a while that Underworld Breach is just a busted Magic card. It has taken over Pioneer, it has taken over Legacy. People figured that it was just a matter of time before it broke into Modern, and it was just down to whether or not we could find the best shell for the deck. And Pascal's tweet kind of went viral. And people were like, all right, yeah, this is probably it. Grinding Station plus Underworld Breach and some zeros is just, milling through your whole library. And then as long as you have a blue mana, once you've gone through your whole deck, you can get an Imri into play and then start generating mana with Mox Amber and then cast Thassa's Oracle. So the combo is very efficient and kind of contained to just these two cards together. And then any of the 10 zeros will function to allow these two cards to deck yourself. But kind of the other part of this specific list that really stood out to me was the fact that there's just a lot of interactive cards in this deck that aren't part of the combo. So we've got 3 Cryptic Commands, 3 Teferis, a couple of Counter Spells, a couple of Galv Blasts, and to me, that is a sign that the combo itself is so powerful that you don't really need a lot of redundancy for the combo itself. You're kind of fine playing this grindy interactive game and then eventually killing them with your combo once you've assembled it. That seems really strong to me. The hype definitely caught on, and one of the other interesting parts about this deck was that just this week, Grinding Station has spiked in price. That's another sign that this deck is pretty real, and also just kind of interesting commentary about how a tweet like Pascal's can have a pretty big influence on not only people's perceptions of the format and what's good, but also the secondary market. So this is the deck. Everybody's excited about it. I'm also excited about it. And I'm excited to take everybody through a couple of matches with it. So let's get to it. All right. Welcome to our first match. We're playing Underworld Breach combo. And sure enough, in our opener, we have Underworld Breach, Grinding Station, the lands to cast them, and some zeros. So as long as we draw a land on turn 3, we should have enough to go off, barring no interaction. So yeah, seems great. Let's keep it. All right, looks like our opponent is on a mull of 5, leading off with Windswept Heath, Stomping Ground, Birds of Paradise. Okay, looks like we're up against a red-green deck. It still could be a number of things. Ponza. I think that with this hand, so we're going to be going turn 2 Grinding Station into turn 3 Breach to go for the kill. I don't think that they're going to have anything main deck that is going to interact with us too well there, aside from maybe Karn, if there's some Karn build. But because of that, I'm pretty sure that no matter what, I'm going to want to lead on this Mystic Sanctuary because I want to have untapped land on turn 2, untapped land on turn 3. So while it might be tempting to go for the bobble trick where I look at the top card of my library now and then decide whether or not I want to play this fetch or not, I think that no matter what, I'm going to play this Mystic Sanctuary tapped on turn 1 just so that I can have them untapped later. I will use the bobble though because I might as well. With the combo, I already have the other 0 in hand, and often if your graveyard is stocked enough, you can you don't even need your 0 in play when you start comboing. So let's pass the turn. I'm going to bobble my opponent in their upkeep, see what they draw. Forest. Okay, draw a bobble. One thing I actually could have considered for last turn was Blood Moon. So it might have actually been correct to lead off with a fetch to try to play around Blood Moon. And I think it's reasonable that our opponent does have Blood Moon in their deck. So because of that, I'm going to try to play around that by fetching out a island right now and playing our Grinding Station. Don't need to worry about that. Pass the turn. Wow. Manvoli Acid Moss. Okay, interesting. Definitely unexpected, and that definitely makes me think that we're playing against some sort of Ponza strategy. They got rid of our basic, another sign that they might have Blood Moons in their deck. We actually cannot combo this turn just because while we can deck ourselves, we won't have any mana through that process to cast our Thassa's Oracle from our graveyard. So this turn, I think I'm going to just play out Emery. So, and then the question becomes, do I want to play out this Engineered Explosives for any number? I would only be playing it for 1 since I want to be playing out Emery, and I don't really think that 1 is a relevant number in this matchup. I would rather have it for something like 3. So I'm going to make the same play I did last turn. I'm going to fetch out a basic island again to play around Blood Moon, and I'm just going to cast this Emery and pass the turn. Now, if we get Stone Rained again this time, and our Emery lives, then we can go off and combo them because we'll have our Legend in play, which means that our Mox Amber is going to be able to tap for mana. So if their turn is just Stone Rain us, then we would be able to go off. But now, even though they killed our Emery, we can still... Ooh, Heliod. We can still combo them because we're going to have our 1 mana left over to be able to cast Emery from our graveyard. So, Breach. Might as well just cast this one from our hand. And here we go. So I'm going to explain it the first time, but I've noticed that this combo actually takes quite a while to go through on Magic Online. Okay, so we cast our 0 from our graveyard, exiling 3 cards. That untaps our Grinding Station. And while we have 2 artifacts in play, I'm going to go ahead and cast Emery for a single mana. Not many of these cards are going to matter for this particular going off combo. And I'm just going to go ahead and get the Emery in play so that once we mill to our Mox Amber, it can start tapping for blue mana. I'm just going to pretty much ignore this Emery now that it's in play. So we're going to continue milling ourselves with the Grinding Station and our 0. It's net even on cards in graveyard. I'm just going to cast it again. Untaps. And I'm probably going to fast forward to the point where I hit Mox Amber. Okay. We didn't get to that point. Our opponent has seen enough, and they conceded, so let's go to sideboarding. So we're playing against red-green Ponza. Probably not useful to bring in Blood Moons here, because they're a Blood Moon deck. The Aether Gusts, on the other hand, seem strong against a red-green deck, so I want to consider those for sure. And then the other question is, what kind of hate are they going to have for me? These are the questions that you always ask yourself as the combo player. It's like, okay, what kind of hate cards are they going to have that are going to be annoying for me to fight through? I still don't know if they're playing Karn in their deck. That was definitely a popular option back when Mycosynth Lattice was in the format. I think that might have changed, though. If I knew I was playing against Karn, I would bring in the extra Galflask to be able to take it out, because you can't combo with Karn on the board. As it stands, though, I'm not gonna bother. I'll keep these 2 in just to hedge a little bit, and maybe I can just like snipe a Mana Dork or something. But I think I just want these Aether Gusts. I believe that Engineered Explosives is going to be strong. You can take out things like Grafdigger's Cage, which they could have. You know, Teferi's a good catch-all against a lot of these hate cards, and so is Cryptic Command. So those are just really nice to have. I don't know if this is going to be a Dance to the Mance matchup, although it could be. You know, Dance is really good at refueling if they can kill our Breach, but I don't really think... They could definitely have some naturalized effects, so I'm going to keep in the dances. Maybe these Aether Gusts are just not worth. We don't care about Blood Moon at all. None of their spells really scare me that much outside of their disruptive pieces. Yeah, I'm actually just not going to bring in these Aether Gusts. I don't think that they add enough to our game plan in this matchup. We're not really here to try to like control what they're doing, and I think that we're generally much faster than them. So let's just keep it lean. No sideboarding. All right, you love to see it. It's very strange to have an all-in combo deck not sideboard like this, just because typically the deck is very weak to hate, but because we have like main deck Cryptic Commands and Teferis, we just have built-in answers to what people are doing. So I'm going to keep this hand. It's got turn 1 Emery, which I think is really strong. But Mishra's Bauble to try to find our other lands. Yeah, I think this hand is good. Because we have 2 Engineered Explosives, I'm actually thinking about just going ahead and running one out on turn 1 on 1 with the Mox Amber. Alright, summoning around into Once Upon a Time, finding Magus of the Moon. Sure. And an Arbor Elf. So with the Magus, I believe I want to fetch out a basic. Kind of awkward though, because the basic I want to find here would actually be a Plains, because I would have the blue off of the Mox Amber with Emery and then red with my non-basic. However, Emery could die. I mean, our opponent's probably playing a lot of cards that's going to kill Emery, so I'm just going to play it safe and go ahead and get my blue source. Snow-covered island, Amber, Bauble, Emery. And then I do think I'm gonna play this one out on 1. Because if it's gonna kill the Arbor Elf potentially, and then, you know, I have this one to potentially get on 3 at some point if I would need to take out the Blood Moons, but I probably just don't care about the Blood Moons as much. And then this also kind of turns off our opponent's best, like, turn 2, which is play Utopia Sprawl into going off with Arbor Elf. Yep, playing out the Magus. Don't really care about that too much. I'm gonna go ahead and peek at what they have. They have a Braid. Okay, it's not nothing. A Galv Blast and another Breach. So we currently don't have access to Grinding Station, which is the only piece of the combo that we're missing. But for the time being, I'm pretty happy to continue to draw extra cards with the Emery, and I will go ahead and pop this Engineered Explosives just to try to constrict my opponent's mana. We know about the Braid on top of their library, so we'll let them draw it before we see another card. Sure. Utopia Sprawl on red, and they're killing our Emery. Yep, let's take a look at what they've got going on. A mountain on top, sure. Do I want to just go ahead and kill this Magus? I just don't really care about it, but I also don't know what else this Galv Blast could hit in this matchup outside of like a Karn. I mean, they could still have Karn. I'll take a hit. It's not a big deal. All right, let's draw a card. If we wanted to play out this Engineered Explosives for 0, I could turn this Breach into another Emery. And I kind of like the sound of that because we can always dance to get it back later if we want to kill this Magus. And I don't think that the 2 Underworld Breaches is really doing a lot for us. So yeah, let's go for that. Oh, you know what? That was probably bad because... Okay, yeah, I messed up there. I could have just cast the Bauble from my graveyard there instead of the E from my hand, so I could still have this E from my hand to potentially use later. I didn't consider that I'd just get access to everything, so... So let's cast the Emery, and then I actually think I want to leave this Metallic Rebuke in the yard. I think that, like, potentially later on we could be going off with Breach and then want to have a counterspell. Okay, and there's a Grinding Station. Next turn, now we can cast our Breach and then cast our Grinding Station from our graveyard. We don't have quite enough mana to do it this turn. So for that reason, I want to make sure that I'm leaving enough cards in the graveyard to be able to do that. So I could cast Bauble. That would be -3 cards. Yeah, I think it's fine to cast Bauble here. We don't need this. We could need that. Yeah, let's cast the Bauble. It's just an extra card while we're going off with our value Breach. Then let's pass the turn. So we know about Mountain in their hand. We still don't care about this Magus of the Moon. Another one. Okay. Yeah, it's more than fine. So I do want to draw this card. Magus. Sure. Okay, so we know that their last card in hand is Mountain. So we are good to go here, actually. So let's cast Breach. Let's cast Grinding Station from our graveyard. Wow, this is gross. It's just a 1-card combo. Yep, okay. And our opponent knows that that's the win. And wow, yeah, that was really powerful. On to the next one. All right, welcome back to our second match with Breach. We are on the play. We would like to play first. And let's see what we got. This is definitely a slower hand. We do have fetch lands and bauble to filter our first couple of draws. And probably what I'm looking for early on with a hand like this would be something like Emery to just try to grind out our opponent with, like I could see this getting to Cryptic Command, Mystic Sanctuary kind of game. Or I would just be looking for the combo pieces. I don't really have enough experience with this deck to know whether or not a hand like this is good. So because I'm still in kind of testing mode, I'm just gonna keep it and try it. This could be really wrong given the power level of this hand or of this deck. I'm willing to give it a shot. So let's go bauble, play a Tarn, and I'm gonna bauble on my opponent's turn just in case that they are a discard spell deck. Plains Astrolabe. Okay, we could be playing a mirror, and they just happen to have Plains in their deck. And they have bauble, so still not 100% sure what we're playing against. Let's check our top of our library. Engineered Explosives. I don't want a second one of those, so I'm gonna go ahead and fetch. Let's just get a Steam Vents tapped. Okay, so we drew Grinding Station. That is step 1. Now all we really need is a Breach, and we'll be off to the races. So let's get an island, cast our Grinding Station, pass the turn. Now if we had more zeros, and even potentially next turn, I would definitely consider with the dance in our hand, just pretty aggressively milling ourselves until we find, because that's just 3 more looks at a Breach that we can win with. Opponent played out Emery. This game could get really interesting. Our opponent playing out the Mox Chamber there kind of makes me want to think about some sort of counterspell that they could have. I mean, they've milled a Metallic Rebuke, so we know they're playing it. Grinding Station. Okay, kind of spooky. Feel a little behind because our opponent has access to a lot more stuff than we do, but we're just... Oh. I was going to say, we're just a Breach away from winning, and sure enough, there it is. Our opponent doesn't have counterspell up, so that's good. Looks like our opponent's going to make us do it, so I'm going to spare everybody for the most part and try to fast forward through as much of this stuff as I can. Okay, opponent has seen enough. And I mean, that's kind of a bummer because I didn't really get to see whether or not that keep was like playable or not. I just kind of drew perfect into perfect and then they died. So, c'est la vie. All right, for the mirror, what do we want? I think Hope of Gearper is going to be really good. There are counter spells, so I could see Veil of Summer being good. I could see Tormod's Crypt being good. Mystical Dispute could be good. Galv Blast could be good. Aether Gust could be good. I'm probably not going to bring in Aether Gust just for Breach. I don't know if I want to play on that axis. I think Engineered Explosives is also kind of good, just because having it, like, you know, playing it out on turn 2 could be important. Honestly, I really have no idea how to approach the mirror here. So let's just sort this and then start trimming. Okay, so let's talk about Tormod's Crypt again. The one-shot mills aren't amazing, but given everything... Like, if you can snipe with Thassa's Oracle, it could be really bad for them. On second thought, I don't think Tormod's Crypt is really what we want, just because it's so easy for a Grinding Station deck to, like, power through that. So it's probably not worth any slots in our deck. I would rather have Engineer Explosives to just, like, have sitting out on 2 to protect myself from them going off on their turn. I think Hope Lock is actually pretty powerful. Teferi is... fine. I don't think that I'm going to need too many dances. Probably don't want to overload on Engineered Explosives. Also, I don't think that Blast is really exactly what we want, you know, even though it's good against Emery. Probably 3 Teferis is too many. So let's try this. This is definitely not scientific at all, but this is what we're going to be going with for now. All right. This hand looks phenomenal. We have an early Emery with Metallic Rebuke up. Let's keep. With a hand like this, I think I'm actually going to sit on the Mishra's Bauble for a while, just because I want it for the Metallic Rebuke. And then, you know, once I resolve like another artifact, I'll be able to pop it. But I really do want to be able to turn 2, go Emery with Metallic Rebuke up. Ooh, a dance. Let's get our basic island, play Astrolabe. And then I'm just gonna sandbag the Bauble. Because if we played it now and didn't pop it, and then next turn went Emery pass without popping it still, I think that would be a little too telling that we have the Metallic Rebuke. So I'm just gonna chill on it. Make it look like I drew it, and it'll be less of a tell that I had this Metallic Rebuke in hand. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna shock. I'm gonna play this Bauble, and I'm gonna play an Emery. And that resolved. And then I'm gonna pass the turn. Ooh, and we hit a Hope of Gearper. Okay, so that actually looks really strong. I think putting your opponent in the Hope lock is definitely a powerful way to win. EE on 2. Is that something I care about? Okay, so I believe everybody's gonna be playing the same deck list that Pascal is playing for now. So let's see what exists that could get through a Hope lock. So Galvlast, if our opponent kept it in, we cut all of ours, which might be a problem because of the Hope potential. But essentially what I'm considering here is like maybe if I think that the Hope lock with Emery is so strong, I could just ignore this and keep going. Yeah, and it's also not worth Metallic Rebuke because I could just EE on 0 to blow it up if I need to. So yeah, I'm just gonna let this resolve. Okay, and I do really want to hit my lands, so let's take a peek at what they got. Mox Amber on top. Okay, so we hit our land. Feel pretty good about that. We hit another Metallic Rebuke. All right, I'm gonna play this. I think that this turn I want to cast EE on 0. Get back this Hope. And pass the turn. We've got Rebuke up, and also we can instep pop our EE on 0 to clear theirs. Actually, it was fine. Land and pass. So yeah, so here I'm just gonna go ahead and clear their engineered explosives. And we drew land, which is pretty great. This matchup is definitely not about damage, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to combat. Let's see if this connects. If it does, I'm just gonna sack it. Cast it again. And then, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this down. And we still have our Rebuke up. Okay, so okay, yeah, they're done. I was about to say I'm going to start milling myself with Grinding Station to see if we can hit an Underworld Breach, because then we can dance it after hoping them to lock them out. But I think that the Hope lock established in the mirror is very strong. All right, on to the next. All right, welcome back for the third match. This hand is interesting. So we have our Hall, which means that if we like end up drawing incidental artifacts, we could mill ourselves and then find our Breach and put it on top. It seems kind of slow, and we don't have any other artifact in our hand, and our Thassa's Oracle is kind of a brick. Like I could see running it out on turn 2. I don't know, this hand feels too bad to me. I'm gonna mulligan. Well, this hand is even worse. I'm gonna mulligan again. All right, there we go. This is a keeper. We gotta put back 2 cards. I wanna keep the Emery, I wanna keep a Breach, I wanna keep the lands, and I wanna keep a 0. Would it be crazy to keep 1 land and both 0s so that I can turn 1 the Emery? Yeah, I think that's too greedy. I'm just gonna put these back. All right, looks like we're playing against Eldrazi-tron. Ooh, I hope they lead with a Chalice on 1 in the dark. Yeah, so, okay, in this matchup, Chalice on 1 is significantly worse than Chalice on 0. So if they had known the matchup, I think we just lose on the spot, to be honest. But because I don't know the matchup, and we even drew EE, I'm just going to go ahead and play out our Emery and both our zeros. And having a 0 down, or having an EE on 0 down before they kind of know it's up and can play Chalice on 0 is actually really strong. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that. Yeah, let's pass the turn. Power plant. Pass. Okay. So probably going to get Thought-Knot Seared next turn if I had to guess. Ooh, they have a Once Upon a Time. Okay, so they're that version. Drew land and another Emery. Let's just cast our Bauble again. Play this to filter our draws and pass the turn. Forest? What on earth? Okay, I didn't expect... I guess I just don't know this deck well enough. I didn't realize that they had green sources, but looks like they do. Okay, and they found a Thought-Knot Seer. They didn't have one this turn. But we're getting a lot of card advantage here, so I'm actually feeling pretty good about where we're at. Do we want a Dance of the Manse? I don't think so. This doesn't look like a dance game. I'm mostly just trying to draw or mill a... Ooh, Thassa's Oracle. I'm mostly trying to draw or mill a Grinding Station. Okay, so since we drew the Thassa's Oracle, this is our only way to win the game, and I would really not like it to get exiled, so I think it is safer to have it out in play, and then I can potentially chump block it later. So we're definitely going to cast Bauble. We're definitely going to play Island. We're definitely going to get Bauble back. None of these are what I want, so I'll just put them all on the bottom and pass the turn. Oh, you know what? That was a mistake. Our opponent's going to Thought-Knot Seer us and take our Underworld Breach, so I should definitely have put one of that extra Breach on top of my library. Yeah, that was a punt. Okay. Yeah, that was all just kind of face up on the board. So yeah, we could have gotten our backup Breach, but now we're going to have to try a little harder for it. All right. Let's draw some cards. They've got another power plant incoming. We got a Hall and a Teferi, but we don't have any white mana. Maybe I could have done something better with that. I actually think that in this spot, it is worth potentially casting an Emery to kind of mill more. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Just because if we hit a Astrolabe, I want to dig for an Astrolabe. We're not gonna be able to do it this turn, so we're still going to go for Bauble, just because of the Chalice. But in order to get the mana for Teferi, I'm going to end step, blow up the Chalice, and then next turn go for an Astrolabe. Played the power plant, Smasher. Okay, so the clock is on. Block 4 of the damage. Let's draw an extra card. See what they got. Cavern of Souls. Let's blow their Chalice. Rebuke and Emery. Let's cast Astrolabe. We're not going to be able to hold up Rebuke, and they're going to have Cavern of Souls no matter what. So the question is, do I want to hit Thought-Knot Seer or Reality Smasher here with Teferi? I'm going to play EE out on 0 anyways, just because they were sandbagging a Chalice. It's going to be good to have this in play. Yeah, I think I am going to bounce the Thought-Knot Seer here. And I do want to mill myself for more because now that we have the Hall in play, yeah, there we go. Finding a Breach is good. Have we hit a Grinding Station yet? We have not. And we didn't have artifacts for Galvblast to kill the Thought-Knot Seer, so it wasn't worth holding that up. All right, sure. Attacking me, yep. Oh, yeah, okay. I think I took that draw step a little too hastily. That was bad. I think we can still recover, but we're really choked on mana now. So if I had upkept, put the Breach on top, cast the Breach, I don't have enough mana to do what I want to do. So I think I'm just gonna have to try to survive another turn. And what's the best way to do that? Can I play and pop an EE on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I can. Okay, so that's not bad. So we can play and pop the EE on 4, and then we're just mostly hoping to fade another Reality Smasher. I think it's pretty likely that they have one, but we just won't be able to beat it, unfortunately. I don't think. Because we definitely can't do EE on 5. And I just want to double check. I need my basic planes to make this play. Planes. EE on 4. Let's do black. And pass the turn. So if they have another Reality Smasher, we're dead because they have the Cavern. We can't do anything about that. And it looks like they have it. Okay, so had I gone upkeep, put Breach on top, that's 3 mana, and then I'd have 2 to cast it, and then 1 left over. I don't think I would have enough mana to do that, and cast an Emery to dig more for Grinding Station. So I think that I was off either way. But yeah, you definitely want to look to be putting that on top of your library in your upkeep. Like, we still could have drawn... still could have drawn into it. I just don't think that we could have done anything productive with it. All right, E-Tron. On the play, I think Blood Moon is good. It makes it much more difficult for them to cast their good spells. Outside of that, yeah, so we want Gallic Blast for Karn, and then we definitely want the Cryptics and the Teferis. Dance is another way to get an EE on 0 under Chalice on 0, which is something that they're definitely going to be looking to do. Because that's the thing about this deck, is that our combo is already like super lean, so we can't really afford to like trim a lot on combo pieces. And then all the other interactive stuff is really strong. Like, do we want Metallic Rebuke? Is Cryptic Command too slow? It bounces their hate stuff. I think EE is really important to get rid of stuff like Grafdigger's Cage. I really don't like cutting Astrolabe. I'm going to trim on an Emery just because I don't think that they can get that off of the board very well. Metallic Rebuke is going to be really good against something like Karn, so I definitely want to keep that. Teferi is just really good at, buying a lot of time. Galblast good against Karn. Maybe we just don't want the Blood Moons? Or what about Dance the Mance? Yeah, Dance is probably not good in this matchup. Let's try this. On the play. With an interesting hand. So even if we draw into lands, this hand just doesn't really do much. I'm going to mulligan. All right, this one seems more reasonable. Let's keep it. Let's put back a second Cryptic Command. I like all of the rest of the spells in our hand. And turn 1 Astrolabe. Turn 1 Astrolabe just always feels great. Hall, interesting. Hall's kind of an awkward draw because I could see this turning into a Mystic Sanctuary game, but I'm still gonna play it out. Save my damage. Play my Grinding Station, pass turn. EE. We could play EE for up to 3 right now, or we could play it out for 0 right now to play around Chalice. They would have played a Chalice if they'd had one, but I think it's worth just putting this out, not only for the fact that it can spike a Chalice, but also it turns on Metalcraft. Do I want to shock? Because potentially we could be in a spot where we like mill ourselves and try to spike an Underworld Breach, and then we could put it on top and then kill our opponent next turn. But that's kind of at odds at us wanting to keep out these artifacts and have Metalcraft and have the EE around to play around them top decking a Chalice. So I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to predict that even if our opponent doesn't play the Chalice out, we're not going to want to Grinding Station ourselves quite yet. So I'm not going to take the 2 damage. But that was an interesting decision point there, for sure. All right, Eldrazi Trample. Smasher. Okay, so I was really hoping that they would have a Thought-Knot Seer here. I think that would have been much better for us, given our hand. Smasher's just going to be pretty annoying. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and admit that I think I was actually wrong now. Because if they play a Smasher here, that does really incentivize me to try to speed up my clock by milling myself. And then I kind of wish that I had this untapped to potentially put the thing on top to win this turn. As it stands, though, I think I'm just going to take my beats. I wouldn't be able to utilize my turn to do that appropriately anyways. Okay, Crypto Command is definitely an awkward draw. I am definitely going to mill myself this time. Karn. Yikes. Alright, so I have to float a red mana. Karn resolves. Really heads up play from our opponent would actually just be plussing this Karn because our Gallblast only deals 4 here, and then we would no longer have red mana. But let's see what they do. Kind of sucks that I have to like kind of show them that I have Gallblast. Yeah, so they're gonna plus. Ooh, and it kills my EE. So yeah, I definitely should have sacked the EE in response. All right, a lot of stuff to learn about this matchup for sure. Would really love to draw land here. Ugh. Gross. All right. So I made a couple of minor mistakes here. Don't know if it would end up costing me. Oh no, I was wrong. Sacking this in response was bad because if they minus, we would no longer have Metalcraft. Right, and I'm just dead to this. GG's opponent. I hope you enjoyed that. This deck definitely seems like it has a lot of promise. I'm still struggling to figure out how to fight through all of the ways of interacting. And so I think this is definitely a deck similar to Clarkland Ironworks, where it's going to take a while for people to master it. And with that mastery, I think that this deck is going to get even better. And I feel like I could have done more to play against E-Tron. There you have it. Some matches with this new fun modern Breach deck. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.